Alright guys, so today we're going to check out the Monster Boomerang neckband speaker. Now, this is a video that I wasn't actually planning on doing today. In fact, I planned on doing a video where this was included with some other Monster speakers that I have. Monster sent me a bunch of stuff all at once. And so I usually choose the things that I find very interesting, and I'm trying to make it where there's not a lot of Monster videos on top of one another. But I got notification that the Monster Boomerang neckband speaker is on sale right now, and I think at this price, this is going to be a product that a lot of people might be interested in. Now, it normally retails, at least this one that has the gold on it, and I can't tell the difference between the gold and the silver one, but it says this one retails for 129 bucks, but right now it's on sale for only $59. And the reason that's impressive is I've tried all different kind of neckband speakers. I've tried the ones from Sony, JBL, Bose. There's one from a company that starts with an O. I think it's like Wearable, maybe? I'm not sure. And this one is actually one of the best that I've tested. So at this price, especially comparing them to the Sony and the Bose, which is like $250 or $300, I think this is a steal at its price. But we're going to talk about what you would use these for. We're going to talk about some of the features, definitely talk about the sound, and see why I think it's a steal at $60, but even at its retail price of $129 or the silver one at $100, I still think it is a great buy. So first off, one thing I do want to address, because on Amazon it says a personal speaker that you can use without bothering the people around you. This is not true. I just want to say this right at the beginning. Anything that you're listening to, people around you are going to hear every bit of it. It really is like wearing a speaker that's channeling out all around you. So even at lower volumes, especially if people are just in a room with you, I still feel like they're going to hear it. Not necessarily the same way you are because it's sitting around your neck, but it's still pretty loud. Now, as far as who this would be for, or maybe how you would use it, this is the part that surprised me. Now, obviously, I review earbuds and headphones more than anything, but while I'm in my office and while I'm moving around and doing things and while I'm out in the yard doing yard work, this became a speaker that I found myself using a lot because I was still able to hear everything around me and I didn't feel like I was giving up on like bass impact. I'm a bass head. I haven't like held back on saying that in any of my videos. But what the neckband speaker is using is, it says 4 speakers, but it's technically 2 speakers and 2 bass diaphragms, which is there for the vibration. And it just gives you this really full sound, which we'll talk about once we get to the sound. And it's just different than using like bone conducting headphones or air conduction headphones, where those are made where you can still hear your surroundings. This just, I don't know, it's a whole different sound, but it's a whole different impact that's adding to the sound. Now, you could actually use these while riding a bike. I will say if you're going to use these while running, I do think that these would probably bounce up and down quite a bit. You can see it's not small. I mean, it is rather large. It kind of looks like one of those neck pillows that you would use on a plane or while traveling. I don't think it's really made for public use, like walking around the store or anything where there's just a bunch of people. I can't stress enough that whatever you're listening to, they're going to hear anyway. Now, as far as actually using them outdoors, one huge plus is they do come in rated at IPX7, so they are waterproof. In fact, you can keep them submerged into water for like 30 minutes and you don't have to worry. So I guess if you're just going to kind of chill in the pool or the jacuzzi and just sit there, you could have this around your neck and you don't have to worry that if you just go in a little bit and water submerges over them that it's going to damage them. Now, as far as anything that actually comes in the box, it's pretty simple. It comes with a USB-C cable to charge these. Battery life, I think, is very impressive. I don't necessarily think that it gets the battery life that it says it does. It says you can get about 12 hours on a single charge if you're using these at about 50% volume. And I can say at 50% volume, it's going to be very loud. It is using a little bit more battery than that. So I think at 50%, you can look to get right around 10 hours or maybe just a little bit under that. And if you're going to use these just at full blast, you're probably going to get about 6 to 7 hours out of these. But still, that's going to get most people through a full day. But if you do pause your music or take these off and forget to actually power these down, after 15 minutes of nothing being played, they will just shut down on their own. Now, as far as the charging port itself and the actual controls, All of those are located right here on the right side. There is a flap that covers the charging port. Again, this is what allows these to have that higher IP rating. And then on the outside is where the buttons are located. They are actually physical buttons. They do allow you to control everything, which is a huge plus. As far as the materials of these, it is very bendable. It basically is all silicone at the bottom, so the part that would be touching your actual skin, it's made so that it doesn't irritate it. And then it has fabric along the top. And I found them to be very comfortable, but they do have a little bit of weight to them, so you are gonna feel that they're there. But that's something to kind of be expected because I've had that with every neckband speaker that I've used. Now, if you are going to use these for phone calls, I think they did a pretty good job with the mics. So if you're walking around the house and you just need to talk on the phone, this is definitely something that you can do and still, interact with the things around you and it not get in the way. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here's the mic test using the Monster Boomerang. And again, I was very impressed with how well it picked up my voice. It's nice to be able to take a phone call, still hear your environment, and still be able to do whatever you're doing and not feel like anything's getting in the way. You don't have to hold your phone. If somebody comes up to talk to you, you can still do that. So having a mic like this, I feel, is very impressive. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because like I said, I feel like this is a better sounding product than the JBL and the Wearable or whatever that brand was. And they're even highly comparable to the Sony and the Bose, which I didn't expect because these have a very full sound. Now the bass impact is playing a huge part in that. Just that vibration of bass, even lower bass tones where it's not supposed to be overly strong, it has a subtle vibration to the heavy bass impact where the vibration picks up. It's just a whole other element to listening to what you're listening to. In fact, these sound incredible for movies, explosions, you can feel that vibration. And the way that these are tuned, the mids are pushed very forward. So dialogue is always up front. Vocalists, you never have an issue hearing. So you could definitely use it for all types of media without any issues. And the same thing with the treble. I feel like the treble's bringing out quite a bit of details. It is not a harsh treble. It's not overly bright, but it is tuned up quite a bit because it knows that it has to compete with the bass. And the only thing that I notice is if I'm listening to anything chaotic, because that bass is doing what it's doing, it does seem to pull the treble down just a tad. Not much, but again, that just depends on what genres you listen to. But where these really stand out, and obviously that's by design, is the soundstage and the sound imaging. This is an extremely open sounding product. Again, it sounds like you're just wearing speakers on your shoulders. So it definitely sounds like you are in a very open environment. And these actually do a really good job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion, I feel like this is a steal at the under $60. The only issues I really have is they do leak a lot of sound so that it's going to keep you from using these in a lot of environments. And I also feel like they just look kind of large. So if you're somebody that cares about how you look or how things look on you, you may be a little self-conscious about that. But if you just don't give a shit, this is awesome. This really is impressive to feel that bass impact right here around your neck. The sound being as open as it is and as full as it sounds. And because they went on sale the way that they did, I had to jump on and do this video. I highly recommend them at this price. But if you do miss the sale and you can get them for around $100, I still highly recommend them at that price. Guys, that's my video on the Monster Boomerang neckband speaker. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.